bit trickier. Now, acceleration is not a scalar measurement, it's a vector, which means that to express acceleration, you need to have both a number and a direction. Now, if you want to go around a corner at a constant 40 miles per hour, the rate at which you are changing direction affects the amount of g-force your body experiences, and that is determined by the radius of the corner. This is why pilots can train in a centrifuge. A centrifuge mimics the forces the pilot would feel by changing direction in a tighter circle at a slower speed. So in a car, what that means is any change in direction, however small it is, results in an acceleration, and that sensation is what your body feels. Now, there are outside forces and variables that make equations a lot more complicated, but there's also micro accelerations that you might not even be aware of. The bumps in the road, for instance, will accelerate the car upwards and then back down as it passes over the bump. That accounts for the acceleration of the wheel, and every car would experience a pretty similar micro acceleration at a given speed. Where cars start to differ from each other, however, is everything else between the tire and your body. The suspension, the chassis, even the seat that you're sitting in can have an effect on how much of that acceleration makes it to the driver, how much your butt dyno can feel.
So to prove this, we're going to do a little field testing today. We have an accelerometer app that's going to measure g-forces, and we have two cars. We have a lowered FRS, which is the epitome that's going to measure g-force. To prove this, we're going to do a little field testing today. We have an accelerometer app that's going to measure g-forces, and we have two cars. We have a lowered FRS, which is the epitome of slow car feeling fast, and we have a Scion XB, which isn't necessarily that much slower or faster, but this will prove as our baseline car. We're going to do the same run on the same street with both cars, and we're going to look at the data and see what it says. And performing all these tests will be our field correspondent, Joey Rasul.
You might remember me from my show Versus, and if you do, I am sorry. Here, I'm just gonna be testing, not hosting. That's gonna be Jeremiah's job.
Now, neither of these cars are pulling huge G's from speed, but at normal road speeds, the softer sprung car generates less change in acceleration.
So it's not about which car is faster. We can always tell which car is faster. This is about which car feels fast. And I know that in this car, I have accidentally gotten to like 80 or 90 on the freeway because I didn't even think that I was going that fast. And yes, like there is gonna be a difference. These cars have different 0 to 60s. The weight is different. How it handles going up a hill is different. But the point is that when these two cars are driving at the same speed, the accelerometer data is different. Like right now, I can see major changes in frequency. I can feel the bumps.
Now, automotive manufacturers have a whole department dedicated to these vibrations. It's called the NVH department, or Noise, Vibration, and Harshness, which coincidentally is also the name of Nolan's new metal band. It's the NVH department's job to eliminate rattles and shakes in the car, but also to find how the harmonics of a vehicle might amplify vibrations. So for the perfect consumer car, the NVH department wants to build a car that feels comfortable at any speed, which means it's going to feel slower and more controllable. But for a sports car, they might tune up that sensation of speed to give the driver that thrill of a quick car at any speed. And this can be done a couple ways. You can do it with a louder exhaust, or piping in induction noises, or simply putting an M badge on the back of it. Now, as you look out of your windshield at the road, you may think you know what speed you're going, but how much can you actually trust what your eyes are telling your brain? A study published by Harvard shows just how wrong your eyes can be. So they did an experiment, and the test took 30 people, showed them 200 different videos from a driver's seat perspective, and asked to estimate the speed the car was going. The results were that the wider the video's field of view was, the more off the estimations of speed were. The more context you have for where you are and where the things around you are, the slower you are going to think you're going. Take a look at this video of a long hallway and cover the center of it. Immediately, the edges look like they are going faster. And that's because your brain has less time to process the information, so it thinks the video is sped up. Now, when we cover the edges of the video, your brain can process that information quicker, so it feels like the video is played slower. But peripheral vision isn't the only way we can affect perception. Many people say that lower cars feel faster. In a 2004 study, the Transportation Research Board set out to test that exact theory. They found that when asked to drive a comfortable speed in a simulator, drivers at a higher ride height were consistently going faster. Not only that, but 56% of the drivers thought they were going faster in a lower ride height simulation, while actually going about 4 miles per hour slower on average. But vision is only one sense that is giving your brain information on speed. And we wanted to find out, if we took away your vision and we took away your ability to hear, is your body able to tell any differences in speed?
So Joey's gonna drive me around, but I'm not gonna have any auditory or visual senses. I'm gonna put these earplugs in, I'm gonna put some noise canceling headphones on, I'm gonna cover my eyes with this mask. We're gonna go for a little loop here in Mulholland Drive, and Joey's gonna tap me, and I'm gonna have to tell him what speed we're going to the best of my ability. Let's see how good my butt dyno is. Probably going 30.
35.
35.
44.
58.
75.
What? 42.
45. Still really close.
62.
69.
58.
58. Okay, there we go.
So was I worse or better?
You were just more accurate overall, which is really interesting. So my first thought is that this is closer in drive characteristics to your F-150. It's
For sure.
a car for comfort. The suspension's gonna be not similar, but closer than the FRS. And the FRS is just an unknown quantity
Right.
to your brain,
Right.
you know?
I will inherently know, like, if you're shifting up or down and then the revs go higher, then I'm increasing speed.
Yeah, so you're
But I-
thinking about acceleration and stuff.
Right, so I think I'm like trying to process too much information.
All the stuff that you're getting from the FRS, not knowing what speed you're going, it doesn't matter if you're guessing higher or lower. The fact that you're off
Right,
shows that you're being overloaded by the data.
right.
So we can feel acceleration, and a car with stiff suspension can pass more acceleration to our bodies. Most of that acceleration doesn't feel like speed, it feels like bumps, but some of it can be misinterpreted by the brain. These quick changes in acceleration are known as jerk, and jerk might be responsible for some of that sensation of speed. And I say might because everybody's past experience can influence this feeling. Some smaller events of acceleration and jerk that your mind doesn't have context for can trick it. That's jerk that comes from the vibration of the engine, for example, or rumble in the exhaust. Beginning race car drivers experience this all the time. The body panics, the information is coming at you too fast, so you slow down to be able to cope. The car can actually go faster, but you can't yet. So to become a faster driver, they practice reducing the sensation of speed. And part of that comes from knowing the track and knowing the car, so the driver's brain doesn't have to process as scientists did at Baylor, a UT. They had test subjects try and read the flashing numbers as they were dropped from a bungee line. And guess what? They couldn't read any of the numbers. It turns out that adrenaline doesn't make you act faster in the moment. It does not increase the speed at which your eyes and brain can handle information. For a driver, the only way to slow down time is to have less new information. The more information you have from experience or muscle memory, the more brain power you can dedicate to the track. But you can go too far. A driver still needs information to know what's going on. With no info, your brain might be able to handle going faster, but it's not equipped to keep you on the track anymore. And pretty soon, you'll outdrive the car. So on a track, I'd rather be driving a slow, communicative car than a fast, numb one. But in road cars, we don't need all of that information. We don't want to be bombarded with race car noises and vibration. So there's plenty of things that affect a car's feel, and feeling fast might actually slow you down. I think we just accidentally proven that a loud exhaust, cut springs, and limo tent will make you less likely to speed. Thanks to my field correspondent, Joey. We're gonna be using Joey a lot more in our episodes of Bumper to Bumper. We're gonna be branching out. We're gonna be doing a lot more tests, a lot more actual physical science. So I hope that's what you guys like. If you do, leave a comment. Hit me up on Instagram at Jeremiah Burton. Hit us up at Donut on Instagram at Donut Media. Until next week, bye for now.
I love the movie Cars. It's got racing, it's got romance.
The Fast and Furious franchise has given car nerds like you and I a ton of enjoyment. But on the flip side, they've also done a high amount of scientific fibbing. Busta's turbo hack 100 miles an hour in reverse, doing a wheel stand while doing a burnout. Well, today we're going to take a look at some of these feats of impossible physics and tell the truth on some of my favorite Fast and Furious myths. Let's go. A big thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now, over the past few weeks, I've had a lot of downtime because, well... And while Raid Shadow Legends may not get you flying through the air on a 250cc moto horse, it will guide you through exciting battles against noble kings and dark wizards, all while navigating through warring factions and uncovering hidden prophecies. Okay, yes, I see you, Death Knight. Hi. No, I don't want to play right now. And last month, Raid released their Death Knight. Come on, dude. I'm in the middle of something. Seriously, please stop it.
I will sacrifice you if you don't stop it.
Cut the crap. Gosh. Anyway, last month Raid released their biggest update ever, and their main event is the Doom Tower. I'm talking about a giant tower with 120 floors, a bunch of secret challenge rooms, and 12 badass bosses to take on. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the link in the description, and if you're a new player, you'll get your free Void Champion Bulwark, 50 gems, an XP booster, some energy refills, and even an ancient shard as soon as you get in game. And if you don't know what any of those things are, come join my clan and I'll help you out. You can find me in the game as Uncle Jerry's Donuts. So what are you waiting for, huh? It's easy. Click the link in the description and I'll see you in game. wheelie burnout. If your car is able to do a wheel stand, more than likely it's got a buttload of power. But if you can ride a wheel stand while doing a burnout, it's a car that I'll call a fantasy. At least that's how it's depicted in the first Fast and Furious movie. Dom and Brian line up to each other on a deserted road in what will soon be the longest quarter-mile drag race in movie history. Toretto in his supercharged 1970 Dodge Charger, and Brian in his Mark IV Toyota Supra. And as the stoplight turns from red to green, Toretto's Charger jumps off the line and does a wheel stand also while lighting up the rear tires. So we got a wheelie going on and we got a burnout happening at the exact same time. So first things first, let's look at what your car needs to do a wheelie. There's an actual equation that we use called the weight transfer equation to determine the amount of acceleration you need to lift your front wheels off the ground. And if we make a couple assumptions here, we'll need about 2.6 G's of acceleration off the line to pop up the front end. Now with a bit more math and some more equations, we can figure out how much torque that is, and that's about 780 pound-feet of torque. And luckily, the engine has enough to do that. So now as the car rises up, the center of gravity rises with it. We need less torque to keep the wheelie going. So up until this point, this part is totally feasible. Now in a perfect drag race scenario, all the torque is getting sent from the engine to the tires. Because the rear tires have friction on the road, that torque generated by the engine will rotate the car around the axle while pushing the car forward. And two important things are here. We have friction, which means wheelie, which means forward motion. But you